Hey folks, it's Teresa from Stringfield Ridge Farm. Oh, we got a lot going on around here today, and I thought I would just show you some of it. I've got grandkids here, so I'm babysitting grandkids while I'm doing all this. So bear with me, they may get loud in the background. There's several grandkids right over in that area. And today I am making tomato paste with some of my Roma tomatoes. Last year I did Amish paste tomatoes and made tomato paste, but this year we didn't do those, and I've done some Romas, and I figured I can do, you can make tomato paste out of any tomatoes. These are hardier and thicker, so it's a little better to use them. I've got my Romas. I've been putting in the freezer. As I get them, I've been putting them in the freezer, and I've pulled them out of the freezer. Gonna put them in the sink and wash them off and get the peel off and work on those. What I'm gonna be doing is peeling them, getting the peel off, which is easier after you've put it in the freezer. And these have been in the freezer, on the last 2 weeks. I've been collecting and putting in a bag, and now I've got enough to do this. So I'm going to take them and start throwing them out a little, enough to get the peel off, and then cut them in half and get some of the seeds out and some of that middle part that's not tomato, and seeds and juice, and get that out of there a little bit. And then I will put them in the food processor and mix them up good, puree them, and then I'm gonna lay that out on a sheet, like a cookie sheet, and bake that until it reduces down some. I think you're supposed to reduce it down about half. Not sure I done that last year because mine was a little runnier last year, and I had to really put it in a pan and reduce it some more to thicken it up. So this year I plan to leave it on the cookie sheet a little longer and reduce it to half, hopefully. Starting to prepare that. At the same time, I have decided, I have a lot of spaghetti squash, which I love, and I use it in different ways. I'm going to freeze some, and I've got some in a cool, dark place to try to hold them over as long as I can. But I also love soup. Through the winter time, I eat a lot of soup. So I decided to make some chicken noodle soup with some of the spaghetti squash. So we're fixing to try that. I've never done that before. I'm going to do just like chicken noodle soup, only with spaghetti squash. So right now I have the spaghetti squash in the oven, baking for 30 minutes on 400, and then I'll scrape out those noodles. I've also got my chicken going in my pot. So that's what all I've got going right now, and I'll show you as I go along some of it. I think hopefully I can show you enough that you can do it, but mainly I'm just showing you possibilities and what I'm doing today, and I may not give exact instructions, but you can ask. You can always ask if I missed something, and of course you can always look it up somewhere else besides my channel, and if you don't know how to do all this. Most people do. I just want to show what I'm doing today. Like I said, I've got the tomatoes here thrown out. I'm fixing to put them in the sink and rinse them off a little bit, enough to get that skin off. And then I'll let them thaw just a little, enough to cut them in half and get the seeds out. All right? And so I'm going to turn around and show some of that. Okay, there's my Roma tomatoes that I have been bagging up. I've just been putting them in there as I pick them. So it's been ongoing for a couple of weeks now, and just been sticking them in a bag. That one got full, so I started another little bag here. But I'm just going to put those in the sink or in a bowl and rinse them off enough to get that outer skin off, which is much easier after you put them in the freezer like that. So that's what I'm going to do first, and at the same time, meanwhile, I have my chicken starting to cook here in my pot. That is 4. You can use, you know, to make chicken soup, most of you know, you could use a whole chicken. You can use chicken parts. I am using 4 chicken breasts. And then in my oven, I've got the spaghetti squash going. That will be going for 30 minutes on 400, and then I'll be able to scrape those that spaghetti out of there. All right, so that's what all I've got going on at this moment. I've got my pints all ready over here, all cleaned and ready. I've got my jelly jars over here, all cleaned and ready. What I will do for sterilization, I've got them cleaned good. I wash them really good in a very hot, soapy water and rinse them really well with as hot a water as I can stand to put my hands in. And then I will stick them in the oven for just, a few minutes, 5 minutes on 200. And that's what I do. That's all I do for them to sterilize them. So I'm going to try to show you how easy this skin comes off. If I can get this camera kind of down here and show that. Hear the kids laughing. So I'm going to tilt the camera down and kind of show you peeling one of these off. They're real easy to peel once they've been frozen. And then you just kind of soak them in water just a minute. And so, I just want to say something about our channel. Stringfield Ridge Farm, me and Lee, we've been doing some of this stuff. We were raised up doing some of this stuff that we do, gardening and canning and things. Our parents done it, our grandparents done it. We were just raised that way, and we know a lot of it. But we are not doing any of it perfect. I can promise you that, because we are not perfect, and we don't claim to do any of it perfect. And that's just the way we do. We do the best we can with what we have, and that's all anybody can do. You're not going to be perfect at all this, and I'm going to say that to be self-sufficient is kind of what we're going for, but that's never going to happen like 100% or even 95%. That just don't happen. Really, we're just trying to do the best we can. So we don't do it perfect. We make a lot of mistakes, and we do a lot of things different than some other people do it. So whenever I show you doing it, I'm just showing you the way we do it. That is not the perfect way, I promise you. And I promise you that whatever way you do it, as long as it works for you, that is fine. You're not going to be perfect, and you're not going to do it the same way that everybody does it, because not everybody does it the same way. So you pick what's best for you, what works for you, what's most comfortable for you to do, and that's what you do, Okay. So all I'm doing is cutting that little top off, that and squirted, and then you just peel that off, and it just comes right off of there. Easy, easy, easy. And then I'm dropping them in there, and then I'll cut those in half. Like I said, I'll cut those in half and take the, that one they just come right out of that skin now. Then I'll cut those in half and get those seeds out of there. It is pop. And be sure all those peels go in the compost bucket and out to the compost pile. That way you can make compost for your garden. And I put all peels out in the compost. Any peels that I have, any of the scraps of vegetable scraps and things like that. And then when we mow our yard, Lee sweeps up the dead grass and puts that in there. In the fall, we will put leaves in there, and then keep that turned, and you have some wonderful soil and nutrient for your garden. So my spaghetti squash is ready to get the spaghetti out of it. I showed this the other day on another video. And so after it's cooked, you just take your fork and start digging that out of there, and you will get some nice spaghetti. So, yeah. One small one makes quite a bit. I went ahead and done two because I'm gonna do plenty of chicken noodle soup. And I hope I like it because I've never had the chicken noodle soup with the spaghetti squash. So I hope it turns out good and I like it. Okay, we've got it really going now. Here is my soup. Now, I have went ahead and dumped everything in here. I ended up putting a few tomatoes in there, some yellow tomatoes and some red tomatoes, some onions. I've got purple onions and yellow onions, and my spaghetti squash, and lots of garlic. Lots and lots of garlic. So it looks really good, and it is cooking away here now. And when I get all that cooked down just a little bit, I will go ahead and can that. Stop. Oh, it has celery. I didn't have real celery, so I put dehydrated celery in here. And I really want to at least let that celery rehydrate some. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to let some of these, like the onions and the celery, get cooked a little bit. And then I'll probably go ahead and turn it off and get it on. I did cook the chicken down good before I put everything in there. And the spaghetti squash is cooked somewhat. So I just want everything to kind of get a little bit done. Not completely done. Okay, my jars just come out of the oven, and I'm fixing to start filling those up. And I have them here. I've got my lids over there away from me. I'm going to have to get my lids. But what I'm going to do is dip some of this in here and then add a little juice on top. I will dip kind of the amount of content I want in there, and then add some of the broth on top of that to fill it up. So, okay, I filled that jar up a little ways. With the content, I just filled it up about 3/4 or so that I can get some juice in there. And now I'm just going to put some of the broth and fill it the rest of the way up to the bottom of the rim there. There we go. And then I will get a lid, wipe that off. Oops. Wipe that rim off good. Yep, didn't do that to where you could see it, but anyway. And get that top on and get it what they call finger tight. Not tight, like not tight at all. Ooh, that's hot. Not tight. You just turn it. Barely finger tight. And get it in the canner. There we go. Now I'll get the rest of these done and get them in here. Okay, my pressure canner is done. And my tomato paste I've just pulled out of the oven for the last time. I actually had done 2 pans of it, and then I cooked it down some more and kept getting it down until this is all I have left. This 1 pan is all I have left. It'll probably fill 2, maybe 3 jars. Not sure yet, but that's pretty thick. And here's my jars, my little jelly jars. I done an 1/8 of a spoon of pickling salt and citric acid. So that's what I've got there. I'm not sure it'll fill all 3. I'm hoping. And then I will can those in the water bath canner for 10 minutes. So that's all, and I'll show you the final products when I get completely finished. Okay, there's the finished product. I ended up getting 4 jars of tomato paste, and there's my 9 jars of soup. Popping. I pulled them on out because I have to leave, and I wanted to show them before I leave and get this video up. So I'm fixing to cover those up because they are still boiling and popping.